Hello, welcome to the LAAGCast for November 2nd, 2018. I'm Max Williams, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Sam Richards. How are you, Sam?
I'm doing well.
Good. I am also doing well.
Excellent.
So let's get right into the nitty-gritty. It's only been a couple of days since we last recorded, so we've only accrued a small number of additional pop culture to fill everybody in on, but we'll try to keep it entertaining. Let's start, I suppose, since it's the continuation of a two-parter that started last week, the new episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the 9th episode, and second to last, I believe, of the season.
Second to last.
I think so.
Yeah. It was good.
There were parts of this episode that were almost harder to watch than most of what happened to Charlie during the Saw-esque last episode. The pink eye.
The pink eye, yeah. It was very disgusting.
It was terrible. It was horrible. Nobody ever wants to see that. The makeup effects on it were too realistic.
Too realistic, yeah. The little white dots. Oh my god.
Caitlin Olsen might be the funniest person at acting with something bad in her eyes that I can think of at all. Like, this is not the first time she's had something horrible in her eyes during an episode of Always Sunny. We all remember the famous Dennis blowing pepper into her eyes so that she can realistically cry at a funeral. Oh my god, is that blood?
This also isn't the first time she did a Mr. McGill. When she stayed over to live Charlie's life, she did that down his hall and then eventually went and tumbled down the stairs.
For
very
a second.
Funny.
Yeah, she really navigated the hallway excellently. So in this episode, the remainder of the gang, sans Charlie and Dennis, because this is when Dennis is not living with them, they all take a party bus to go to the Super Bowl. And bus breaks down, they end up flying. It's all very easy peasy.
You get to break down hurts Frank.
Oh my god, that's the other thing. It's because you ask yourself, what could be worse than a bear trap just gnawing away your leg for an entire 20-minute episode? And one of those worst things is Danny DeVito acting like he has a kidney stone for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Knocked a piece of kidney stone loose.
Oh, and when it clatters out at the end, it's so loud. It's so loud. It's loud enough that there's no way that ain't coming out, not at a hospital. Like, I'm glad they resisted the urge to show us the stone, because anytime that plot line was advancing was just terrible.
I didn't mind that one so much.
No.
It reminded me of that Seinfeld where Kramer gets the kidney stone, and he also happens to lose his kidney stone at a stadium.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's funny, because they just did that Seinfeld ref.
A couple episodes
ago.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe somebody watched the whole series during the break.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah, it just reminded me of having a kidney stone, so...
Right. Yeah, I think this might actually be the most gross out season of It's Always Sunny, because we've had...
The vomiting.
And
shitting on the plane.
Right, and that wasn't the only vomiting of the season. Right. Charlie vomited last week as well. Right,
and somebody, who was it that pounded? Oh yeah, it was, what's his name? Ponderosa, who pounded hot dogs too fast and then Ralphed all over the hot dog tray.
Right.
They showed us the tray, but they didn't do anything to it. Like, we didn't get a close-up on it. We just saw the waiter taking it away, and I'm glad, again, that they showed the restraint to not show us the barf-covered hot dogs.
Right, exactly. Keep it a little tasteful.
Keep it a little tasteful, like Mac was saying at the beginning of the episode when he was giving the Dennis speech. Like, not only was he talking the way Dennis would talk, delivering lines the way Dennis would deliver them, but he was, like, physically even moving the way Dennis would have been moving while he was doing that scene. Like, to the point where I'm almost certain it was intentional.
Almost certain, exactly. Like, Dennis is gone, Mac feels he's gonna fill that role.
Right. No, Dennis, I'm Dennis now.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So it was solid. I don't know if it... I mean, I guess it kind of did redeem last week. I can see myself watching last week again.
Yeah, I can see myself watching them, like, back to back. I do feel it would have been funnier if they left out the cricket reveal a little longer.
That, yeah, it was disappointing since it was so easy to figure out who he was in the first place.
Right. Unlike last week where you had no idea because you see Cricket and then you see Green Man and you don't know about the whole Cricket you can't come conversation.
Right. The beginning of that episode was weird, and I honestly didn't love how they reused about a minute and 20 seconds of the exact same footage. Now, maybe some of that time, is them doing that instead of doing it last week on.
Right.
Which would have eaten up, 40, 45 seconds anyway. But still, new minutes of Sunny are so precious. I don't love getting the same minute twice in 2 weeks.
That's true. And we had a lot of, real life footage in this episode as well.
Yeah, they went to the stadium.
Yeah.
During the game, yeah. And so it turned out very nicely for them that it ended up being a win. They really wrote a pretty cool episode around the events of that game, because I'm pretty sure the way the drives were going down at the end was all, actually how it happened.
I know, which is amazing.
So at the end when they're like, oh, it's a catch, no, it's a fumble.
Man.
It's right into that, write the ending first and then get there.
Yep. I think the only other thing to mention is the hilarious reveal that Rex got fat.
That was a hilarious reveal. That was such a fake stomach.
I know. But it was just so out of left field.
Yeah, that was funny. But you almost saw it coming. The berries, not popping the jacket off.
Not popping it off, that is true.
The Invigoron berries. Yeah, a lot of recycling.
They do good at recycling, though.
Yeah. And my prediction didn't come true. No McPoyles anywhere at the game.
Oh, that's true. No McPoyles. That's too bad. We haven't seen a lot of the McPoyles in many years.
I wonder if Jimmy Simpson's appearance rate went way up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost certainly.
Yeah, and without him, it's not even worth it to get the others.
I know.
Like him plus any one other. Like you need Ryan in a way. And the courtroom episode is funny, even though neither of them are in it,
True.
just because of the way that episode is set up.
Right, and they got Lion.
Right, they got Lion, which is a great reveal. You got Guillermo del Toro. So there's plenty of stuff you can balance it against. But really, if the McPoyles show up again, you want
Jimmy Simpson.
You want Jimmy Simpson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else about Always Sunny worth bringing up?
No. I'd say it's a watch.
All right, yeah, I'd say it's a watch, as usual. Let's move on then to the third episode of Star Trek Discovery, Choose Your Pain.
Choose Your Pain. Third, considering if you don't count the Battle of the Binary Stars and the first episode of that two-parter.
Yes, we've excised the Battle of the Binary Stars, and we will be going back to it later, inspired by the Star Wars Hatchet Order that you can look up online if you want to know what that is, and the Battlestar Galactica prequel between seasons movie that explains things that happened before the next season starts, which really we're going to see if it works better that way. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Choose Your Pain. It starts out with a little trippy, weird sequence again, kind of. But this one has a much stupider reveal than we're seeing something be replicated. Which is, why is Burnham watching herself in the tardigrade chamber?
Oh.
Is something weird happening with the device? Oh no, it's just it's guilt dream.
Guilt dream. Maybe telepathy sent by the tardigrade.
Right, the tardigrade. Exactly. Like, I feel like that there was like a subtle layer of that possibility, but it never leaned into it quite hard enough.
Nah, it's all speculation there.
Let's see. I didn't take too many notes for this episode because, let's be honest, compared to the last two, this episode's a little bit of a snooze.
That is true.
It's almost just like it's two almost unrelated stories. Like, I know the tardigrade thing is related to the we have to go rescue Lorca from the Klingons thing, but it's really how are we going to fix the tardigrade problem, also separate. Lorca's in deep shit, we got to save him. It feels weirdly empty compared. The last two I really felt like full episodes. Each one was here's a beginning, a middle, and end. Here's a problem they have to solve, and all the plot lines kind of feed into each other.
Yeah. This one felt more like this is a continuation of the old stories only. Right.
And also an excuse to have Rainn Wilson locked in a room with Jason Isaacs and have them try to over-dramatize each other.
Yeah.
Jason Isaacs' deadly seriousness, along with Dwight's offset aloofness. Which, I gotta be honest, like, those two guys in the room are acting like 3 circles around Ash Tyler.
Yeah, you barely even notice him.
Yeah, he's so, this guy, like, I really believe that he could be a real nobody.
Right, he seems like just any random officer.
Which, I guess that's the point, in a way.
In a way.
But yeah, it's weird. Lorca insinuates that Klingons have 2 dicks.
Or something else.
Right. Well, he says right number of organs. We don't even have the right
true.
number of organs for you.
But maybe Klingons have a dick in another thing.
So that's the kind of thing that Discovery wants you to think about
For some reason.
While it's having fun. It's giving you an interesting techno-battle scene with the 3 scientists trying to figure out the tardigrade thing, and they're sitting there and they're delivering techno-babble like it's an SNL parody of Star Trek. Like, we're gonna really with the techno-babble, like, and we're gonna deliver it so fast and bounce off each other, and then we're gonna punctuate it with a big old "fuck, this is cool," and then we're gonna stop and we're gonna like really acknowledge it. You know, it's not like in Star Trek, I think it's Generations, when the Enterprise is crashing and Data goes, "Oh shit," and then the Enterprise goes down, which I think was the previous weird case of swearing in Star Trek.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is very much like, oh, you said fuck. Now we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to say it again real quick. And now the scene's going to move on. It's so artificial.
Yeah, it's jarring. It would have been way better if, like, she said it and became embarrassed, and Stamets just gave her, like, a dirty look, and then back to business as usual.
Or I would have saved the fuck for when they actually achieve something and have Tilly go, "fuck yeah," and then go, "oh, I'm sorry," and then, like, you can almost do this exact same scene, but it's after they freed the tardigrade, and then it's like, no, fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, that was that. Or when Stamets wakes up, he's like, "fuck, that was cool."
Yeah, right, exactly. In fact, yeah, that would have been funnier to have her say it earlier, like you were saying, have Stamets give her the look, and then at the end, call back to it, even though that calls just as much, if not more, attention to it. That's a much more clever use. Yeah. But it's always a problem when you find yourself talking too much about what you think they should have done rather than what they actually did.
Well, that's disco right there.
Let's see. We get a little Lorca fake backstory about the USS Baran, his previous ship that was destroyed with all hands lost, and I guess he just makes up a story about why the ship got blown up and he only survived.
Yeah.
To make himself look really badass.
Yeah, I guess it's like I blew up my crew so that they wouldn't be taken prisoner.
Right.
But there was no room on the escape pod.
Yeah, so, like, man, yeah, that's true. So they could actually have Mirror Lorca, like, locked up in a Klingon prison or something. They could totally bring, or, yeah, regular Lorca, I should say. Oh, no, wait, he transferred to the other universe. I'm confusing myself with this Mirror Universe stuff. Moving on.
Did he transfer to the other universe?
Yeah, they swapped.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But that's later.
Then that's separate. Anyway, gosh, all my notes are like not even conversational notes. It's like everyone feels bad about the tardigrade. Saru is a bad captain. Spore drive, stab Stamets. Like I wrote that one like it was a newspaper headline.
Yeah, I mean, they have hypo sprays that can deliver chemicals into your body without leaving any puncture.
Right.
But in order to connect them, a living organism to the spore drive, it's got to spike you with these big-ass long spikes.
That tardigrade has an incredibly hard exoskeleton. We know that it's incredibly resistant to damage. So I could actually totally buy that. Like a hypo spray or something wouldn't go. Like that thing wasn't designed for humans. Like he was getting stabbed with the spikes that were designed to go all the way into a tardigrade's
that's true.
Shell. So those stabbed him hard.
Yeah, they better fix that.
Like they do. Remember how they fix it? He gets little things in his arms that they just plug into.
Oh, that's way better.
Yeah, they later designed the human version. Once they just accepted, like, I guess, genetic experimentation is illegal, but since you're already genetically experimented, it's the Bashir hand wave. It's like, well, there's nothing we can do about you, and what are we going to do, throw you in jail?
Right. Yeah, but that is a good moment, Stamets, almost a self-sacrifice moment.
100%.
Because, that's what you want in Star Trek.
Yeah, because he was going specifically against the orders he was given. And not even Lorca's orders, but Saru's orders. And I can imagine that Stamets probably respects Saru more than he respects Lorca.
That's true. But he might fear Lorca a little.
That's true. But yeah, no, it was a heroic sacrifice maneuver.
Yeah.
And it reflects very well on him as he continues to be the best character.
Right. Maybe he'd make a better captain than Saru.
He would never want to be captain, though. He's basically Bones, but not a doctor.
True. Yeah. Oh, and then we also found out that his husband is not the chief medical officer.
That's weird, because even on the Memory Alpha wiki, it lists him as the medical officer for Discovery, but they must just be doing that because he's, a named cast member, because, in the show itself, he mentions the the CMO, which I assume is the chief medical officer.
That's the abbreviation that would make sense.
Right, yeah, so that's very weird. Do you know what it reminds me of? Making Cisco a commander, not a captain. I'm not going to say why. You can connect the dots yourself. But why can't this guy be the chief medical officer? There's literally no reason why the show couldn't have just had him be the chief medical officer for multiple reasons, including what ends up happening to him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things.
Why don't we know the senior staff?
Why don't we know the senior staff? I was trying to write down. I wrote down somebody's name, Commander Arium. That's the blue with a bunch of tech in her face, looks basically like she's almost like a Borg person, alien, not the one who only has a little bit of tech over her eye.
Are we talking about the one in the Scorpius suit?
Scorpius suit?
Yeah, the black that's rubbery.
Oh, interesting. You're seeing that as a suit.
Yeah, I'm seeing it as a suit.
Oh, interesting. I'm seeing that as alien flesh. It's the woman, right? And she's blue tinted skin. She looks kind of like Nebula.
A little bit like Nebula. I was thinking of it more of a black than a blue, though.
Yeah, I think you might be right, more black. But now I need to look even closer because I was reading that as alien skin or armor.
Well, yeah, it looks like armor.
Yeah.
But it definitely reminds me of Scorpius from Farscape.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you should clarify Farscape because not that many people are going to know.
Yeah, Farscape, watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's the best one. And the computer effects, or the effects never age because they're physical effects.
Oh, yeah.
All the aliens. Yeah.
Puppets.
That's some good aliens. It's Jim Henson puppets. What more could you want? Just watch it. It's funny.
Yeah, definitely. But back to Star Trek.
Back to Star Trek.
What else we got on this episode? The escape from prison.
Ash Tyler is a weirdo who has no energy to keep running, but then when the Klingon woman when L'Rell shows up, he's like, oh, but I have enough energy to fight you. And she fights him for some reason.
Yeah, knowing what we do, it's really weird that she's trying to stop him.
Yeah. I had totally forgotten that this is how her face gets messed up, or that her face gets messed up at all.
Yeah, I forgot about that as well. She looks like she's in a lot of pain.
Yeah, a lot of just that whole plot line. It's weird, man.
Klingons, man.
The whole Klingon thing, they're icky now.
Yeah. And how about the Ash and Lorca snapping two Klingons' necks willy-nilly?
Hand-to-hand combat. I could almost see that making sense with old Klingons, but these new Klingons you've created are they're halfway between next-gen Klingons and Worf's devolved proto-Klingon form.
I'm always thinking of the devolved Worf
right?
when I'm looking at them.
When they've got those big elongated craniums where you're okay, so that's indicating to me that there's now layers and layers of armor and those spines are and they have all their double organs. And,
all the redundancies.
And you're telling me Ash Tyler, months and months of torture, Ash Tyler, in reality, bone-crushed, horribly reduced Ash Tyler is able to, overcome and kill, or were those Klingons, supposed to let them escape? Did they sacrifice their lives? They're just, suicide guys, we will go in and let them kill us for honor.
Oh, that's so dishonorable, though.
Yeah, no, none of
Klingon wouldn't do that.
It doesn't lock in any way. They escape, and they're in their fighter, and they get away, and they're really bad. Oh, those Klingon shuttles.
Oh, I forgot about those. What is that design?
What is happening? They're bug things now.
Yeah, they honestly remind me of the fold-out Chinese fans that you can get. What is the point of the whole thing?
It's they have solar sails on them, which is
they have solar sails.
And that's the opposite of everything that the Klingons represent as spacefaring aliens.
Yeah, not a scary looking ship at all. Like,
no.
They like their attack ships to be menacing.
It looks like the generic alien attack ships from the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah, that is true. It's exactly like those.
Right? Like if they gave the Brood some ships, like they'd look something like that, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't fit into a Star Trek anything.
The only other thing that's kind of worth talking about, because I wrote the note here and I finally remember what this note is supposed to represent, is I remember when the computer suggests he kill Michael Burnham.
I know, even the computer on Discovery is evil.
It's a mirror, the ship's computer, that's why it sounds weird. And when Saru is like, yeah, Michael Burnham is like an X factor that's making me doubt myself, and the computer's like, well, why don't you just kill her? Good job, Federation computer.
Yeah.
I hope you don't gain sentience anytime soon, because this computer is not going to be benevolent.
Yep.
That's like a Borg computer.
Just eliminate that obstruction.
Why not eliminate variable? You bitch. Like, aren't you supposed to be telling us to like Michael Burnham?
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, honestly, that episode's not a watch. I feel like if it didn't introduce Ash Tyler, you could skip it. In fact, you could skip it. All you need is to know two things. They released the tardigrade.
Yep.
And they released and replaced the tardigrade, and they picked up Ash Tyler, a Klingon prisoner.
Yeah, that's true. That could have been done within the first, 5 minutes of another Star Trek episode to get the plot going for whatever episode that one would be.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And make that 5 minutes the 5 minutes of mud that you need in order to justify Mud's later attack on the ship that happens like in 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah. Have the episode start. Lorca's already in prison. They've already got a plan to save him. But the tardigrade thing's going wrong.
Right.
Oh, Stamets does it himself. They save Lorca. And now you can get on with business.
So, yeah, it seems like you should have really had a writing credit on this episode of Discovery. A lot of easy problem solves you're coming up with.
Well, once you watch enough Star Trek, the rules, you just understand the rules.
Yeah, which is the big clue that several of the people in these stuffs haven't watched enough Star Trek. I believe they've watched a lot of Star Trek once.
Not enough.
Maybe twice, yeah. But you gotta rewatch the way the fans rewatch.
Yeah.
Like the people who work on the Orville obviously have.
Right. Watching Star Trek is a ritual.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the good book. The sacred texts!
Yeah. And when you have, 5 shows, so many hundreds of hours of episodes.
It's 760-something episodes.
Oh, man. So that's almost 760 hours.
Yeah. If you watched one a day, starting from the beginning of Star Trek, I don't know what they have now, it would take you, 2 years plus to get through every single thing. More if you count the animated series.
True.
Which we don't.
And that is a pretty amazing thing.
It is, especially considering the, 20-year break between the original and the revival.
That's true.
That it could come back from that long ago and be such a wide-ranging and popular series now with so many permutations and so many different versions in films and TV and merchandise and books. Like, it's kind of what everybody wants to do when they're bringing back all these old things. Like, if anything could have... even Star Wars doesn't have the success that Star Trek has had in terms of its, big revival after a long drought.
That's true. When it comes to franchises that have stood the test of time and continue to bring in new viewers, Star Trek is king.
Right. Continue to bring in new viewers, just find a way to do that without alienating all the old viewers, and you will have the Rosetta Stone, because that's the one thing nobody seems to be able to figure out.
Yeah, that's true.
It goes right back to, why are these people who are rebooting these things so obviously, either not fans of these things at all, they want to subvert them, or they care more about, putting their stamp on it. I'm going to make this my version of this.
Right.
It's always one of them.
I'm going to fix the problems with the original material.
Right. And I'm going to fix them with me!
Yeah. Just stop that.
All right. Well, enough editorializing. Let's move on to our character ranks for this episode.
Yes.
As you know, we are ranking characters from the Final Fantasy franchise. We have ranked 16 so far, from best to worst, but with number 1 currently being Barrett Wallace from Final Fantasy VII, and number 16 being Kyros from Final Fantasy VIII.
All right.
But we still like Kyros.
Yeah.
Just want to make that clear. Okay, here's an interesting list. Okay, well, let's definitely talk about Zidane, because he's one of the best characters.
Zidane.
There's a lot with Zidane, as with most of the lead characters who you discover something about through the story.
He's a weird one.
He's a little monkey man, and they choose to leave that unexplained for for 3 discs out of a 4-disc game.
That's true, but I mean, Final Fantasy IX, when it comes to weird animal people, it's jam-packed. It's just you don't really run into any other monkey men.
Yeah, that's true. They do have a lot of weird animal people and possibly soulless automatons.
Oh, Vivi.
Oh man, that's Vivi. Is there a more tear-jerking main character that we're not going to talk about right now?
Yeah, no.
But Zidane, you start out that game, you got Zidane, he's just a cool, tribal looking, that's his last name, I don't know why I said he looks tribal, he doesn't, he's got a gentleman thief aesthetic.
Yeah.
Cool weapons, I always like the double blade staff thing, that's actually kind of rare in Final Fantasies.
That's true, he is one of the few ones to have the double blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a good guy, seems a little bit like a bumpkin.
He's one of those really buys into the to myth type guys, like the idea of a true hero and the gentleman thief. And
he might be the biggest dreamer of any Final Fantasy hero.
Yeah, and he's an alien clone.
Yeah, something like that from. Yeah, that glowing monkey world.
Yeah, designed to be some sort of from another race that was designed. Yeah, man, I'd have to replay 9 to get all the details.
It's complicated.
Yeah, but you really feel for this guy.
That's true.
Yeah, you really believe in his story and how terribly he's affected by the revelations of his true origins.
Yeah, well, that's another Final Fantasy hero trope.
And for his limit break thing, he goes Super Saiyan.
Oh, yeah. Don't they all kind of go Super Saiyan in that one?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, what's it called in that?
Trance.
That's what it is. Yeah, everybody has a cool trance mode.
Yeah. Definitely pretty good as far as limit breaks go in Final Fantasies.
Yeah, so I think that he probably goes above Sid.
Yeah.
What about Cypher?
I like Cypher more.
That's interesting, right? Because we like Zidane a lot, but his story, while complex and weird, I don't know how compelling it is.
Right. We like that he's a dreamer. He's not the type of guy to give up. Very strong-willed. But as far as duality goes, Cypher has a whole bunch of that.
I like Cypher. You're right. So it's a new number 5. That's going to be Zidane Tribal. Alright, next on the list, let's do the person from last week who we didn't do. That's Riku. That's 10, right?
That is 10.
That's the girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she visually shares a lot of similarities, in design style with Zidane.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
I guess
the way she stands and moves and has that kind of slinky. I guess Kyros was kind of doing that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the thief thing to be light and quick on your feet.
Is she the thief of that game?
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
I mean, if you go by standard sphere grid areas.
Right. Yeah, she's okay. The Albed thing is interesting, and she's cool as kind of our point of view character into that whole side culture.
True.
And Final Fantasy X has a lot of cool culture stuff happening.
It does.
Yeah, remember the whole thing where you define the dictionaries so that you can actually read the language?
Oh yeah, that was fun.
She's, like Waka, she's with you a lot because she's one of the people who can fight in the water.
True.
So she's part of the automatic water team.
Yeah, which is an interesting thing about that game. It's only a few of them can swim and fight.
Yeah, it's the one time. It's the one really restricting thing in a game that introduced the ability to just hot swap your guys all the time in every battle.
Yeah. Yeah, but I liked Riku overall.
Yeah, she's okay.
She can get annoying at times.
Yeah. Is she in? She's in 10 too, right?
Yeah, she's one of the 3.
She's one of the 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But we won't comment on that. I think Riku goes below Zell.
Yeah.
Probably below Shadow.
Yeah.
Probably below Prompto.
Yeah.
Steiner?
Below Steiner.
Garnet?
Above Garnet.
You think above Garnet?
I think above Garnet.
I think Garnet's story is more interesting.
Well, there is a lot more to Garnet's story.
Yeah.
But I feel like Riku is more compelling as a person.
Alright, this is a coin flip decision. Call it.
Tails.
Heads.
Alright.
Alright.
I concede.
I'm undefeated on coin flips. Riku is our new number 14. Alright, next, let's move on to LAAG. He is one of the best characters in 6 by far.
Yeah, he's really cool.
The treasure hunter.
The treasure hunter.
Not a thief.
Not a thief.
Yeah, is he the first person you get after Terra?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's with you a lot. A lot of the story is propelled by his will to get things done.
Yeah.
And protect these girls.
Yeah, because that happens twice. First he saves Terra along with the Mughals, and then he saves Celeste. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Celeste.
I think so.
In the prison.
Yeah. He's a real knight in shining armor, a Robin Hood, if you will.
Yeah, and he's got some really fun parts. His solo parts are all pretty fun. When you gotta like steal people's disguises and sneak into places.
Right.
He's great.
Yeah, and good look.
Yeah.
The headband, the vest.
The headband and the vest.
Yeah.
And he gets some cool weapons.
He's pretty
because he gets
varied.
like boomerangs, and he can do like swords and knives.
Yeah. Like Locke. I think he goes pretty high actually. Because I think I like Locke more than I like Sabin.
Yeah. And Locke is like the best thief.
Yeah, he might be the best thief. I'm trying to think of other people who are thief definitions. Is that what this list we're doing is?
This is what the theme is for tonight, thieves.
Yeah. Who's the thief in 7?
That'd be Yuffie.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess he is the best thief. Well, do you think he's better than Balthier?
Yeah.
Interesting. What about Sid Highwind?
I don't think he's better than Sid Highwind.
I actually think you're right. So above Balthier.
But it is Sid.
Locke. Last, let's do Vaughn from Final Fantasy XII. Vaughn, who was not added to the game until very late in development because Balthier was the main character of the game for most of its development, and some marketing team decided that the game wouldn't sell as well if it didn't have a young male protagonist. So they rewrote the game, added Vaughn and Pinello, and that's the game we got. And it isn't horrible, but it does mean that Vaughn and Pinello are the lamest characters in 12.
I actually kind of like Pinello.
She's better than Vaughn, who's literally, his only defining trait is protagonist.
Right, that's the problem. They need somebody young that the kids could identify with and never have him wear a shirt.
Right.
And
with his weird, 8-pack that they drew on him.
Yeah, there's problems with Vaughn, and most of them are that Balthier is just way more compelling and would have been a way better main character.
Dude, everyone is more compelling. Balthier's more compelling. What's his name? Who's the gruff-voiced guy? Bosch is way more. Bosch is one of the best characters.
Bosch is amazing.
Bosch is fantastic. Yeah, Vaughn is Fran is a more interesting character with her whole weird cat lady people, rabbit people thing.
Well, yeah, and that voice actress.
Right, and the cool voice delivery. And that's everybody in that game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, actually. Oh wait, Ash.
Sure, Ash, why not? I'll take Ash.
Even Ash is better than Vaughn.
Even Ash is better than Vaughn, and Ash would have been a better main character if they were going to pivot.
Right,
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so I hate to say it, but Vaughn might be the new bottom of the list. I think I like Kyros more than I like Vaughn.
That's fine. I was thinking that when I was writing the list.
Yeah, alright.
Vaughn might be the worst.
Vaughn, he doesn't have a last name, right? He's a street rat.
Yeah, he's a street rat. If he has a last name, we don't know it.
Yeah. So that was 4. So the 5th person on this list will move on and anchor the next.
Cool.
And I'm going to go ahead and write down. And I guess we should take a break.
All right.
All right, we will be right back. And we are back. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 comics to talk about today.
A little less than usual.
Pretty light week, honestly. It was a 5th Wednesday. Usually, there's only 4, so a lot of times the 5th Wednesday in any given month is a little bit of a dumping ground.
I think I've heard you mention that before.
Yeah, and next Wednesday, the 7th, that's big time. It's Green Lantern, baby.
Ooh,
Grant Morrison's Green Lantern.
Grant Morrison's Green Lantern finally starting.
We are there. But until we get there, there are non-Grant Morrison comics to read, and that's, they can only be so good. So the first thing I want to touch on is something I've skipped a couple of issues on the show, which is Marvel 2-in-1. Now, the thing into Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, cool.
So this one is basically an epilogue to the whole Marvel 2-in-1 thing, because it's mostly just Reed and Ben hanging around and talking about why Reed left and let them think he was dead, and it's some feelings talk. And
feelings.
It's fine. Reed just basically figured that Johnny and Ben would be bored by all the science while they were out charting new galaxies and not fighting, punching any supervillains. And but the darker reason, the reason why he allowed them to think he was dead, is because Reed revealed that previously he had visited some universe where he met a Victor Von Doom who was a good guy. And the only difference in that reality was that Reed Richards had died a long time ago in this reality and never influenced Doom. So he wanted to see if he was thought dead and gone in the main universe, if that would cause regular Doom to pivot to good guyness, which, as we saw with the whole infamous Iron Man thing, he did seem to do that. I'm sure he'll be regular Doctor Doom again in the very near future, now that Fantastic Four has relaunched. But yeah, so we go on a little side journey to the Friendly Doom's world, and they have a conversation about what it means to be good and evil, and they kind of hint that this Doom might be doing some things, like doing some experimentation with dark magic stuff that could be pushing him into a more of a Doomish Doctor Doom situation, but then at the end, he just whispers to Reed, what'd he say? He said, "Don't give up on me." So, next issue looks like it's going to be Invisible Woman and Johnny Storm. So we're going to do a little flip-flop of pairings. We'll see how that goes. Honestly, this is a 5.
5?
Yeah.
Right down the center?
Right down the center. It's not an amazing comic. I should say it's written by Chip Zdarsky, with art by, let's see, why can't I find the artist here? Ramon Perez. And I feel like I've seen Ramon Perez before, and it's been better than this. The action is well rendered, but I'm just not being totally blown away so much. This Doom, doesn't he look too young?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not quite how Doom should look. And, they straight up look like they're going to kiss in this panel, too. So, yeah, it's whatever. If you're reading the series, stick with it, I guess, for now. But, I don't know if it's quite a recommend.
Okay. So, not the best week. Don't start here.
Yeah.
Next up, we have an annual Terrifics.
Yeah.
Which, that's pretty cool. Some Terrifics that's not the main storyline of Terrifics.
Yeah, and it's interesting because even though some of the art guys who've been working on the series are on this, Jeff Lemire's name is nowhere on this.
Right.
And so I guess really this is the first Terrifics we've seen that hasn't been written by Lemire in this current run. And all these guys get their voices down pretty good, in my opinion.
Yeah, really. It's surprising. I didn't know that we were going to be getting other Terrifics issues that weren't connected to the main storyline.
And one thing I want to mention real quick, is Rex back to being Metamorpho in the main storyline?
No.
Okay. I couldn't remember if that had happened and I just missed it or what.
Nope.
But, yeah.
So this takes place at a different time.
It must.
Because Rex is Metamorpho, and I don't think there's any element dog in this either.
Oh, you're right. So this is probably much earlier in the run. I, for some reason, was thinking like maybe this is after the current arc, but this is probably like 6 issues ago or something.
Right, like right after, while they were still tied together.
Right, just the first story is like, oh, here's another bad thing Simon Stagg did.
Right, that's exactly it. He used some of Plastic Man's DNA, I guess, to make some creatures that are made to like grab you and cocoon you
after.
And then turn into you,
right,
and take your place, I guess, to do Stag's bidding.
Right.
But it doesn't work out because they weren't ready, and Stag released them, and then they're just causing a real problem and becoming people from Plastic Man's past.
Right, at first they're duplicating the people, like random people, it seems. And it seems like they've actually been out and duplicating people for a while before this party starts.
Yeah, that's true.
But then after they send that electric shock that's supposed to disable them, it actually causes them, to physically become elements of Plastic Man's genetic history. And
right.
Yeah, so I guess it kind of makes sense that Plastic Man is a weird amorphous blob that stores memories all over him and stuff,
Right. No, that makes sense.
But it's interesting that you wouldn't see any doubles of like people. Like 2 people didn't turn into his kid. Like each one was like a specific different one.
You're right. It's weird that would happen.
It's like he stores the different memories in different parts of his body, and then it's randomly. Yeah, there's also the weirdness.
It's also pretty funny that it's clear to. It's clear by what Mr. T says that these facsimiles of real people are easier to get along with because they're actually just Plastic Man than the actual people.
Right, yeah, they all are nicer. Like the girl he seems like he might be into. Like, they're talking at the party.
He definitely seems like he's into her, and like he finds it really easy to talk to her this time.
Right. But yeah.
But she's a piece of plastic, man.
And that's like the twist ending is like, he tried to talk to her after. It wasn't as good.
Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty good story.
Yeah.
Do you want us to rank the separate stories separately?
No, we didn't for the last annual, the Venom annual.
All right.
Yeah.
So the next story is a story told by and from the perspective of Java.
It's like the 0 issue. Like, here's what Java is.
Right, here's what Java is. So it's him remembering his days as a Neanderthal, and life was good as a Neanderthal until the Homo sapiens showed up, and they were just able to hunt better with their traps and their brains.
Yep.
And it drove the Neanderthals into the mountains, where Java sacrificed himself to save his love from wolves and got frozen.
Like Captain America.
Yeah, he strikes the ice, and him and the wolves go down underwater, and that's where he stays until what's this corporation guy's name? Stag. Yes, Stag Industries. Stag finds him, reanimates him, makes him smarter, and makes him his butler. Yeah,
it's interesting. This I thought was really good. It had the best art, in my opinion, of the 3 parts, Doc Shaner. And, Mark Russell, who recently wrote the really, really good Flintstones series that DC put out last year, did a really good job on this. I really like how he took, like, this real anthropological angle on the whole thing.
That's hilarious.
Like that Flintstones book is all this kind of thing. Like him, like here is like a funny way of explaining the way that the world currently works.
Oh man,
it's quite good. And I was definitely getting shades of that in this story, which it was very entertaining. It really makes you feel for this character, and it's well timed because we just got the reveal that he is in fact Dr. Dread, which obviously I love the art because it kind of like draws him like he's got a red hood over his body, just having the backlight like that.
Right.
So if you were not reading the main book and just picked this up, you just read a pretty decent story with an ending that like hinted there might be more to come.
Yep.
If you are reading the main book, you're like, oh shit, like there's the origin, now I know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all completely laid out. You understand it perfectly. Yeah. Like, that's why this guy's Dr. Dread.
He writes good caveman dialogue, like the few word grunt communication type stuff. He's very good at.
That's very entertaining.
Yeah, very naturalistic.
Yeah.
All right,
so that was fun. The third and final story in this 3-part Terrifics annual is a story of Tom Strong. And it's basically the origin of how the communicator that was in the Dark Multiverse planet on the Giant.
Yeah, the one that attracted Phantom Girl.
The one that attracted Phantom Girl in way back in the beginning of the Terrifics. How that all came to be with Tom Strong.
Yeah, it seems like it's like a Galactus type situation. Like he's found a devourer of worlds, and he's got to figure out a way to stop it.
Right, exactly. So he's in the Dark Multiverse, and he doesn't have much, but he's got to use science to figure out how to stop this giant monster.
Go, Dr. Venture.
Exactly. And that's exactly what he does.
Comes up with a science solution.
He comes up with a sciencey solution that makes it so that his communicator draws off the power that the monster needs to sustain itself. The problem being that he can't take away the communicator with him when he leaves the planet.
Because the way it works is that he set his communicator to broadcast to every multiversal dimension.
Yep.
And that requires a huge amount of power, and it wouldn't work unless it was keyed into something that could generate a huge amount of multiversal energy, which he then does using this thing. He locks it into this thing so that he can drain its infinite reserve of multiversal energy and becomes a beacon of a warning not to come to this reality. And he even thinks to himself, like, well, maybe it would be better not to have the beacon at all. Because
right, might draw somebody here.
Right, but I sense the beacon is the thing that's drawing the energy out of the monster so that it can create this crazy multiversal beacon. He has to leave it.
Yep.
They didn't take that away when they were there, right? That thing's still there?
No, didn't they fight the monster?
This guy, big guy, they fought him?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they escaped from him, I think, when they exited the Dark Multiverse, because they did find the communicator with Tom Strong, and then they woke up the thing, and then they had to run, so it's alive again.
It's actually a pretty funny reveal that there wasn't any more to his message. It's like, if you're hearing this, like, you're our last hope to save the universe, and then like the message ended, and you're like, oh, what was the message? But like we find out now that like his transmitter was immediately destroyed after that part of the message. It was never more.
Yeah, that is funny.
So
all in all, I thought these were 3 pretty decent stories.
Yep.
I found them very entertaining. I'd actually give this issue of Terrifics Annual 1 a 9.
A 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liked it a lot.
I'd only go a little lower. I'd give it an 8. I do think it was a very good. It was good for if you've been reading the series, like I said about the one story.
Yep.
And it's been good if you just picked this up in order to try out the Terrifics. And I feel like somebody would, like if they read this one, then want to go and check out the other series. And since that last story is kind of a prequel, kind of smooths it out, and you can go and pick up the first trade in stores now.
Right. In fact, it might be the perfect place to start if you were going to start reading the Terrifics.
Absolutely. All right. So, moving on to something that I really only picked up because it was such a slow comics week. Justice League Aquaman #1 Drowned Earth, which is a direct sequel to the previous issue of Justice League that introduced the Ocean Lords and the threat they pose to the world.
Yes, the world being drowned by evil toxic water that will turn to evil.
So if you guessed, upon reading that issue, that this event would be about, a bunch of people are turning into fish monsters, no one can stop it yet, and some big evil-looking people are going to show up in this reality and start punking regular heroes to show how powerful they are, dwarfing them, if you will.
Yes.
And then you guessed right, because that's all this is. You get an extended scene of Batman failing to defend Gotham, and Superman failing to defend Metropolis, and the Flash kind of being badass and managing to save a lot of people all over the place by himself.
Yeah, he's kind of the only one that's being badass in this issue.
Yeah, I mean, Mira and Ocean Master kind of do some cool stuff once they're battling their way through the evil mutates, and we get this weird Black Manta versus Aquaman scene where they're like fighting in a pit, and it seems very reminiscent of Black Panther to me. Because it does end up with Black Manta getting Aquaman's powers.
Right.
Just like in Black Panther. And yeah, Superman, I don't know if he's turning into a fish or just having his energy drained. This was a lot of noise. This is a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And stuff happening and very much like filling the pages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, here's what we got to do. And the art was okay. Howard Porter is real hit or miss. Sometimes it's real nice looking, and sometimes his caricatures are a little off. But I do like his more cartoony style.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate him putting a little flair on it. But I don't know, some of the art as a whole, like some of these, think of the Superman face. Like, I don't know.
I think you're right, but I think it is mostly just expressions that are a little off sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, like, Black Manta, that's, like, some of the coolest I've seen Black Manta look.
Yeah, all the physicality of everybody looks really cool. Like, everybody kind of has big hands and feet in a way.
Yeah.
And I do like that. Although
they're a little bulgy. Even the Flash is, like, a little bit bulgy with the muscles.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Real ripped.
Yeah, a little bit. And I don't know whose brilliant idea it was to say that Batman should spend like a lot of time crippled and like not doing anything dynamic.
I know.
It's a real anchor on Justice League and this.
When he's talking to Commissioner Gordon, and then Commissioner Gordon goes like through him and becomes a water monster. Man.
You know what? It's weird is that if DC hadn't done their whole reboot and changed who characters were and all the stuff, this would be Oracle. This was what Oracle was supposed to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But somebody decided that Barbara Gordon being Oracle was harmful to women or something, and that's why she gets to be Batgirl again, and Bruce gets to be in a wheelchair advising the Justice League from base.
Yeah. I guess everything's just too grand. Right now, all the calamities are just too much, so it's hard to write good Batman dealing with that.
Because he can't do shit.
Right, because he's just a human, so they decided to cripple him.
Like, just the whole, like, I'm going to stay behind and defend the totality thing felt like an unnecessary reference back to the main book. It's like, why do we care? Unless the totality is going to be, like, a major part of solving this problem, in which case, that's bad storytelling, because that shit shouldn't be solving anything for many issues.
Yeah.
3.
All right. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us about this weird thing.
Batman Secret Files, Issue 1. So, this is another multi-story book.
Now, I imagine that this is going to, come out every month, and it'll feature continuations of some, and, like, because some of the stories were whole stories in this, and some, like this first Tom King one, were obviously just, like, the first part, Yeah,
so this was all right.
This was the only one I liked. The one about the crazy guy who was infected with fear gas.
Right. Batman saved this guy, a young officer who had gotten infected by fear gas in a building that's coming down, and Batman helped him get out of that, but he was already too far gone.
Right.
And so he's telling the whole story from Arkham.
From his padded cell.
Yeah,
and the visuals were cool where he's seeing Batman as the giant bat monster and all that stuff.
Yeah, so that was the coolest thing. I mean, Batman looking all scary, but saying, like, pretty nice things and trying to help this guy out. And it's just, it's a real shame that he wasn't able to help this guy yet.
Yeah, which is actually surprising. That Batman, I mean, I guess it's really, Batman is good with the chemicals and stuff, but the real reason he's so able to overcome all the crazy toxins and gases that people use on him is, because he's got that mental discipline.
Yeah, because Batman is a samurai and a ninja.
60 days in an all-black cave in Nanda Parbat, then you'll know what you're afraid of.
Yeah, and so after that we get a story about some drones that Wayne Enterprises sold to the military, which then sold to some criminals who used them to deliver drugs. And they ended up, a lot of people got shot, some gangsters, by these drones.
My eyes glazed right over this story.
Yeah. Well, that's really all there is to this story.
We didn't talk about the first story, though, before we move on too much. The 2 pages of Superman offering Batman his powers.
Oh, right. I forgot about that because it's only 2 pages.
Yeah, it's really disappointing because it's potentially interesting, but I feel like Tom King's going to figure out some way to make this really lame. I don't know why I have that feeling.
I know. Well, I mean, I feel like this should have ended right here. It should have just been a 2-page story. So what happens is Superman found some, platinum kryptonite?
A new kryptonite variation.
A very rare platinum kryptonite that if a human touches it with their bare skin, they will gain all the powers of Superman forever.
Permanently.
And he gives it to Batman.
Because, yeah, of course. Batman should definitely touch it 100%.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because they can't do that.
No, he never will. But if this was real, you kidding me? Batman, already, he swallowed that shit the second Superman left.
Oh, I know. In the real world,
yeah.
If there was a real Batman in the real world, with as much strength of will as he has and as much desire to right the wrongs of the world, he would take it in a second. But we're not in the real world. We're in a world where Batman can't have superpowers.
Yeah, I guess we're in a world where if Batman really wanted superpowers, he would have given himself them via technology or some other genetic experimentation long ago.
Right. So, yeah, this issue ends with Batman asking Alfred, am I enough?
Such a Tom King line.
Right.
Am I enough, Alfred?
And in my opinion, it should have ended with Batman closing the box and going over to a safe and putting the safe in the box and then closing the safe. Because that could mean more later if he needs it.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't need it, it's going to stay right there.
Yeah, that would be poignant. Because it really makes you wonder where this story's going to go, other than he goes out to stop another crime and gets really physically fucked up and maybe almost doesn't save somebody or actually fails somebody, and then he's like, oh, well, now should I do it?
Right. And he's still going to decide.
I do like his little fantasy vision of I could totally stop the Joker from shooting somebody by just heat visioning a bullet out of the air. Which seems like the more dangerous way. Superman would have dashed in and caught that bullet. Superman isn't going to, zap a bullet an inch from a person's face.
Yeah, but it is fantasy. Yes.
And is this supposed to be in that church where the Joker killed all those people? I feel like that it is. Is Batman specifically flashing back to when Joker killed everybody in the church? Because Joker's dead now, right? He definitely died in that issue.
Right.
He bled out,
Yeah, there's just so much Batman. It's hard to keep track of who's dead and who's alive sometimes.
Anyway, let's finish off this anthology.
Right. So, let's see. What was the last story of this one?
Oh, yes. The snowy.
Right.
This weird snowy one with weird art.
Really weird art. Really weird-looking Bruce Wayne. Weird-looking Batman.
Yeah, this snow armor Batman, kind of. He just has a fuzzy collar. And then he kills a deer and feels bad.
Oh man, is that where it ends?
Well,
that's not the last one.
No.
There's a lot of issues in this.
Actually,
one,
the last one is
the last one's all right. The last one's good.
The last one is the second best one.
Right, but Batman is tracking somebody up in a very snowy place, and he has a cabin, and I guess he gets kind of scared. And yeah, so he fires out of the door when he hears something, and he kills the deer, and he's sad about it. And he buries the deer under some snow.
Which is weird. I feel like he should eat that deer.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like that story.
Batman's probably a vegetarian in that story.
God damn.
He looks like a vegetarian.
Yeah.
If I can say so without being too
Soy Batman. Oh my god.
Kinda. Look at that. Like that haircut. Like I don't like it.
Yeah. All right. Moving on.
The Detective Chimp story, and
yes, Bobo, the Detective Chimp.
It might not be possible to do a bad comic with Detective Chimp.
I know.
He was the only good part of Justice League Dark, which we didn't continue to pick up, but he was the good part.
Yeah. Yeah. Love Detective Chimp. In this story, he comes to Batman because he needs Batman's help to find a kid who's gotten in with some thugs and hasn't done anything bad yet, and he needs Batman to help him go and, get this kid out of this situation.
It's
he
the
was
classic.
living on the streets.
It's the classic Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Like, don't let this kid fall into the Foot Clan. He hasn't killed anyone yet.
Exactly. So they go off on an adventure, talking back and forth about stories of detectiving and whatnot and how great they are. And that's fun. And they find out that the kid, I believe his name is Kevin, he's fallen in with the Riddler. Bobo happens to have solved the Riddler's riddle before coming to find Batman, so no problems there. They find this kid, and while Batman is handling the Riddler, Bobo goes after the kid. And this kid, he's frightened. He's got a gun. He shoots Bobo and escapes. And so Batman, after dealing with the Riddler, he comes up to Bobo and says, "Which way did he go?" And Bobo's just like, "Nah, man. He didn't hurt anyone. It's all right. He's out of it now. The Riddler's going back to Arkham, so it's all good." And then Bobo mentions that he's the world's greatest detective, and they go their separate ways.
He does, doesn't he?
Or it's the title.
Oh, yeah, the world's greatest detective, and Batman.
And Batman, that's it, right there. Oh man, funny stuff. I like that one.
Yeah. That may actually have been the best one, with the Scarecrow one the second best.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Overall, I would give it a 6 because it has its flaws, but it has a couple of good stories that are worth reading.
I think 6 is the right score for this comic.
Yep. All right. Hey, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for checking us out this week, everybody.
Yep, always a pleasure.
Drop us a line if you've got anything to say, and we will see you next week.